welcome to another edition of Staff Spotlight. I'm Mike Slagle, Ray-Pec Superintendent, and today we are pleased to have Lezlie Waltz with us, 14-year veteran of the Ray-Pec School District, currently music teacher at South Middle School.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's an honor to be here.
Tell me a little bit about your journey to Ray-Pec. You've been here 14 years, but what led you into education and specifically here?
Okay. Well, I'm someone who's born and raised in Seattle, Washington.
Whoa.
So I started there, finished at University of Washington, my bachelor's degree, and then went to Pepperdine for my master's in California. Married my husband there, and we went to Texas for a bit, and I considered myself at that point in time a musicianary.
Oh,
so
nice.
a musicianary in the sense that I went on a mission trip to Spain, and then there were opportunities with being involved in music groups where I was able to perform in Europe and other places, so the musician side of it and then missionary side of it. We ended up moving here, and I was full-time at IHOP, the International House of Prayer, not House Pancakes. The International House of Prayer as a worship leader, performing arts minister, and I went through a different type of a journey where I was involved in music in the community and yet had training. And then the door opened up, and so I ended up getting involved with fourth grade teaching at Creekmore Elementary. It was our first year for Creekmore to be established. And so I started there and then went into teaching gifted. I'd been in a gifted program myself growing up. Both of our kids were gifted, and I loved differentiating at Creekmore and working with those children who needed a bit more of a challenge. And so spent a season there with gifted at Bridle Ridge and Eagle Glen. And then the district grew and changed and adjusted, and the opportunity opened up to teach choir at Ray-Pec South Middle School, and music was my first passion. I started playing the piano at 3, and as I'd mentioned, had opportunities to travel as a musician and compose and such. And so, as I had spoken into the lives of my gifted students about their passion, it opened up for me to follow that, which was more along the lines of my first passion to teach local music over at South Middle School.
You know, Lezlie, in your classrooms, you have a broad experiences that you're bringing in as a teacher. What are some of the lessons and life skills that you try to teach our kids in your music classroom?
There are a lot of life skills that come out of this. There's a culture that we have, a choir culture. And what you see is that you need to be someone who gives, who sees others and uses the talent that you have to really be a blessing. And so whether you go down a path and end up being someone who's involved with music therapy, what you find is if people are sad, music can help them to lift up their spirits,
Sure,
bring joy, make them happy. And if they're happy, who has a celebration and doesn't have music going on? Long road trip, music going on. So it provides an opportunity for our kids to see that they can use music throughout their life, and then they have giftings and talents, creativity that can be unleashed, that can be a blessing to other people, to help them out of depression, to help them deal with anxiety and many other things in life. So those are some of the life skills. Recognizing the giftings you have, being creative, being open, and blessing other people so they're better after the interaction that you've had with them.
You know, Lezlie, I know last year the Ray-Pec community was awarded one of the Best Communities for Music Education Award,
Yes.
one of only 750 across the country that were awarded that distinction. Tell me what that means to you and what that means for our kids.
It means a lot to me. I think it means a lot to our community. It's often said that, well, you had to say that I'm good because you're my mom, or, you had to say that because you're my teacher. This is an example where it's verified, it's recognized by an outside source that Ray-Pec is outstanding in this area, and it's our choirs, it's our bands, it's theater. We come together, and we have excellent educators throughout our district, and it means a lot that that's been acknowledged. Our community is so supportive, and this is, recognition of distinction at a level that's outside of the community, that this is a great place to raise kids with a quality education, specifically in the area of the fine arts, performing arts.
Right. Exactly, and that external validation really does help.
It does.
I've had the opportunity to visit your classroom this year, and I've walked through, and I always appreciated your passion for kids, what we're doing in the classroom as far as music goes, and you've touched a lot of lives in your career, so thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be here.
Ray-Pec community, thank you for tuning in for another Staff Spotlight. We'll be back in another couple weeks with another special guest. Until then, be safe and we'll see you soon. Thanks.